Continuing my series on the link between the spiritual world and the digital world, today we're going to be talking about Steve Jobs, the creator of the Apple company and all the Apple technologies that people use throughout the world. And I'm going to talk about what actually influenced Steve Jobs to create the company Apple and to also create the technologies associated with the company Apple, like the iPhones, the iPads, computers, laptops, iMacs, etc. So before all that, I'm going to introduce to you who Steve Jobs is for those of you who don't know. Steve Jobs was a charismatic pioneer of the personal computer era with Steve Wozniak. Jobs founded Apple Inc. in 1976 and transformed the company into a world leader in telecommunications. Widely considered a visionary and a genius, he oversaw the launch of such revolutionary products as the iPod and iPhone. So basically, Steve Jobs is the grandfather of personal computers. All the iPhones we have, all the personal computers we have, all the smartphone technologies, all of that is thanks to Steve Jobs. Interesting fact about Steve Jobs, the first Apple computer was actually sold for $666.66. This is an absolute fact, it's not a theory. The Apple I went on sale in July 1976 at a price of $666.66 because Wozniak liked repeating digits and because of a 1/3 markup on the $500 wholesale price. The first unit produced was used in high school math classes and donated to Lisa Loop's Public Access Computer Center. So yes, for some reason, the official first Apple computer was sold for $666.66 exactly. What an interesting choice of numbers. Now, I bet many of you are wondering, where did Steve Jobs even get the inspiration to create such powerful technology? Well, I've already mentioned this in a couple of my other videos, but to those of you who are new, Steve Jobs credits LSD to paving the way for personal computing. Before he ran the company that would bring computers to the masses, Steve Jobs was your typical college hippie. In other words, he dropped out but hung around campuses to get high and score acid. The side effects of the famed CEO might seem at odds with his future perfectionist workaholic tendencies, but according to Jobs himself, taking LSD and smoking pot was actually the key to unlocking his creativity. It would also explain those trippy iMac colors at the very least. Steve Jobs went as far as saying taking LSD was a profound experience, one of the most important things in my life. In one quote, he said, "LSD shows you that there's another side to the coin, and you can't remember it when it wears off, but you know it. It reinforced my sense of what was important, creating great things instead of making money, putting things back into the stream of history and of human consciousness as much as I could." So he credits to the creation of his company and the invention of his technologies to acid, a psychedelic. Now, making a link between the spiritual world, psychedelics, and the digital world, I want to talk to you guys about the Book of Enoch and a specific passage in the Book of Enoch. The Book of Enoch basically tells the history of the fallen angels, when they fell and what they did to mankind. So when Satan and the fallen angels fell from the heavens, they all had their personal jobs. Like one fallen angel taught man about architecture, another man taught man about astrology, and another fallen angel taught men about making weapons. So they all had their own jobs and they were teaching men these forbidden knowledges. There was one fallen angel named Simjaza who taught enchantments and root cuttings. And to simplify what that means, this fallen angel taught men about the use of substances like psychedelics such as shrooms, ayahuasca, DMT, to basically communicate and have communion with wicked spirits through the use of these substances. As many of you guys know, people who partake in psychedelics like DMT, LSD, shrooms, ayahuasca, a lot of them describe seeing the same exact thing, the same exact entity, the same exact dimension, because they really are going somewhere and having communion with the same entities. And the Bible does talk about psychedelics and drugs, but it uses the word sorcery and witchcrafts. So the word for substances like psychedelics, such as shrooms, ayahuasca, DMT, is the word sorcery and witchcraft. So partaking in it is witchcraft according to scripture, because you are communicating with other entities that you shouldn't be communicating with. And isn't it interesting that Steve Jobs credits the creation of his company and his technologies to LSD? Now, speaking of that, I looked into Steve Jobs' spiritual beliefs, and he was a devotee of Eastern spiritualism, including Zen Buddhism. He was a seeker of knowledge and transformative experiences who traveled widely and took LSD to expand his own consciousness. So the creation of the company Apple and the technologies associated with Apple didn't necessarily just come from Steve Jobs, but his experience with LSD, which opened him up to another spiritual realm where he was having communion with these spirits, because naturally Steve Jobs was not as like crazy talented or super genius as you think in his early days. In fact, in his youth, Jobs was quite literally a dirty hippie, alternatively a vegetarian and a fruitarian, convinced that his diet made bathing unnecessary. Jobs assaulted everyone he met with his smell. He walked around barefoot and rested his distressed feet on tables and chairs for all to admire. So he was literally a hippie who didn't shower, didn't wear shoes, was a dropout, was doing drugs. Then all of a sudden he became a genius creating all these technologies? No, this influence comes from another world. Because he literally says that acid was one of the most important things he has ever done in his life. This is what helped him create these technologies that many people use throughout the world. Another interesting thing about that is Steve Jobs wouldn't even allow his own children to own or to use any Apple products. And I found that very interesting. How can you not let your own children use your own inventions? And I assume because he's very aware where this stuff comes from. It's just really crazy to me that he went from being this dirty hippie who didn't bathe, didn't wear shoes, was just a lazy druggie who dropped out of school, to all of a sudden being a super genius creating personalized computers. Maybe he was having communion with entities from other realms, and this is what helped him create these technologies and gave him the inspiration. In fact, there are many people throughout history who literally credit the use of psychedelics to some of their inventions and ideas. So yeah, once again, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you are enjoying the consistency. I think this is my 8th video in a row. I make these videos on my free time, and I really appreciate you guys' support. To all my patrons, thank you so much. All your support means the world to me because it helps me find more free time to make videos like this. Because I literally have enough content to make a few videos a day. It's just that time is a factor, but your guys' support helps me find that time. And so far, I've been making a video every day the past 8 days. So I'm very thankful to you guys. Thank you for joining. By the way, I posted an exclusive video on my Patreon today. So if you guys would like to check that out, the link will be in the bio. If you want to join my Patreon, you can join for any price you want. You can join for as low as $1 and pick your price. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and we are out. Thank you.